Travel back in time to the 80s, reliving the laughter. The heroes.
Pick up your phone and call the professionals. Go, Ghostbusters.
And the honesty.
What's up, Norm? My nipples. It's freezing out there.
Because just like you, we're stuck in the 80s.
Sure, it's not 1985 right now, but who knows what tomorrow will bring.
Under neon lights, we claim this town. No one can take us down. No, not tonight. City boys and city girls running wild, burning like a falling star.
Hey, welcome to Stuck in the 80s. It's your host, Steve Spears.
And Brad in Oklahoma City.
And today we're still here with another installment of 80s News Now.
We're still here, the shadows falling, the night is calling out, yeah, we're still here.
Steve, don't forget, Stuck in the 80s is a member of the CLNS Podcast Network. You can find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, many other streaming platforms, and the CLNS Media mobile app.
And don't forget to listen to our podcast at the CLNS Media website. You can find it at clnsmedia.com. And as always, if you love the show, share the links on social media. And don't forget to like our page on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. So, Brad in Oklahoma City, please explain.
I'm visiting Mom this weekend. I hadn't seen her since last year about this time. It was about her birthday last year, so it turns out it's about her birthday again this year. It's funny how that works. So I just needed to come out and see her and check up on her and, basically fix the leaky things and rewire the unwired things and, the usual stuff. So I'm kind of jammed in my mom's guest bedroom, which is literally stacked with boxes of organ music since she's playing for the church again.
So that's why you're talking with your inside voice right now.
Yes, I have to use my inside voice and I have to keep the swearing down a little bit.
And I'm still talking with my cold voice because I'm on week 2 or 3 of my cold now. So please excuse the froggy. And this happens every year, and it's
get it out of the way now. That's what I say.
I actually went to the doctor last week anyway for regular blood work, as people our age have to do. And I asked him, I said, should I be worried about this cold? He's like, nope. So
don't worry, it's going to be with you for a couple of weeks.
He's
Get
like,
used to
whatever. He's like, you don't have a fever. Your blood pressure's fine. You're fine. Just buy a lot of Kleenex and you'll get
the fluids.
Yeah,
not those fluids.
Well, that's the hard part. He wasn't very specific, and so I improvised a little bit.
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah. I was the last couple nights. Gail from DC, who is a frequent guest co-host here on Stuck in 80s, she was in Orlando this week.
Yeah.
For a convention.
I'm so glad you guys got together.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so she was over at Universal. I work at Disney. But we met up in a neutral location.
Okay, good.
And had I had 2 beers, and she had, I think, 12 ciders. It wasn't really 12, but it was more than 2. And we talked, I think, for about 3 or 4 hours about everything. I mean, we talked about some of her favorite shows. Where she said she actually remembers where she was a lot of the times when she first heard one of our episodes.
Oh, wow.
Which is
indeed.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then we talked about the show where she interviewed us.
Right.
Which was a lot of fun. We talked about show ideas to do in the near future.
Oh, good.
So you'll be hearing about that. And then it's some
more sausage for the grist mill here.
Yeah. And then for some stupid reason, I ended up telling her the story of like the last 3 or 4 girlfriends I've had, which and as well as anyone.
Some of those stories are pretty Yeah, you'd need 12 ciders to get through some of those.
Yeah. So I think she had a new appreciation for why I can be Eeyore-ish at times.
Because the podcast made you this way?
The podcast made me this way. And certainly my relationships have made it this way. Anyway, we digress. We have gathered here today to go through another installment of 80s News Now. And if you're kind of new to the show, we used to do this a whole lot, and then we started feeling guilty about it, like we were being lazy. But to be honest, with you being in Oklahoma City this weekend, and with me sort of being
we
under
haven't had a whole lot of time to prep.
Yeah.
And you've been sick.
Yeah. So
we know we missed one last weekend, and so we're just trying to get back on the horse here.
Not missing two in a row.
Right along with us.
So let's get started. Here we go. Finally, some good news from Hollywood that is as much fun as it is frightening. Actor Robert Englund will reprise his role as Freddy Krueger in the Halloween episode of TV's The Goldbergs. And there's even a promo video on the show's official Twitter page.
Hi, I just wanted to introduce you to our special guest star this episode. His name is Fredward.
That's Mr. Krueger to you.
Mr. Krueger, all right. Is there a Mrs. Krueger? Because I have Rolodex.
Bev, we'll find out soon.
He's just enchanting. Very well-mannered. We get our nails done at the same place.
Trick or treat.
Brad, were you a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street?
No, I'm not. I'm established as not a horror guy.
Me
so
either,
I don't even know that I've seen any of these. Obviously, I know who the character is. I'd recognize him if he popped up out of my closet. But,
right. Well, the thing with Nightmare on Elm Street is, first of all, horror movies give me nightmares. So why would I watch?
I have an active enough imagination. I don't need that help.
So why would I watch a horror movie that is all about nightmares? I mean, that's just doubling down on my worst.
Yes, that's
problems.
That's leaning into the punch.
I did see the first one, and maybe even parts of the second one, and I don't know how many there have been. I think there's only been maybe, I don't know, a lot. Let's just put it that way.
Wasn't there Freddy versus Alien this summer?
Or Freddy versus Jason at one point or something?
It was Freddy versus Jason. I was making a joke.
Okay. I have no idea. I have no sense of humor. I don't even have a sense of smell right now, or a sense of tastes. So, anyway, Englund, the actor, had long ago sworn that he would not return as Freddy. Yeah. He's 71 years old now, for starters. Oh. And it's been 15 years since he last sat through the makeup process to become Freddy. So I think in the last, I forget, I know there was I know other people have played him in the meantime. But anyway, so he's on the Goldbergs. It'll be titled A Nightmare on Elk Avenue. And it will be about the main character of Adam and his reaction to seeing the film for the first time. I don't have an air date. I should say, this is kind of interesting. I just now started watching the Goldbergs. And I know it's been around for a few seasons. And I tried to watch it in the very beginning, but I got so frustrated by the fact that the time things...
They were messing with the continuity.
Right, and that drives me crazy.
The timeline was messed up.
But they seem to kind of realize that now, and it's sort of like we're all in on the joke that it's the year 1980 something, they always kind of say. And it's like, okay, you've a nod and a wink to the fact that you've
papered it over in a clever way.
Yeah. But it's on TV Land now, the cable network TV Land. I can't even pronounce my D's anymore. I'm so full of phlegm. But so the other day it was a marathon going on, so I started watching it, and I sort of started laughing, and I sort of got it, and I relaxed, and I took the stick out of my butt, and I actually enjoyed it. So.
Nice.
They just had a season premiere a couple nights ago where it was retelling the 16 Candles story. So,
oh boy,
including the end scene with the Thompson Twins song "If You Were Here." So, did
one of the characters sell his girlfriend to a freshman?
You know what's funny about that? I was just on Instagram today or Twitter. And they had a photo of Farmer Ted, and the prom queen, and they were making a connection between rape culture in the early '80s and the Brett Kavanaugh hearings.
Oof.
And I was like, holy shit. There's a certain amount of truth to that. I mean,
timeline checks out. Yeah, timeline checks out.
I felt really bad. I was like, oh no, that's right. We did kind of think that was funny back then. I mean, not.
Let's hope that we see beyond that we see what's underneath what we thought was funny, because there are some funny scenes with those two actors.
Right.
But the situation is pretty,
Yeah, pretty crazy. Anyway, we've gotten too dark here. Let's march on. Here's a decade-bending twist to the Hollywood remake playbook. Eddie Murphy, our old buddy, Pluto Nash, has been tapped to star in a remake of 1993's Grumpy Old Men. What do you think about that? I think this idea might work, Brad.
Yeah, I saw that and I'm like, why are we talking about this? Grumpy Old Men is not an 80s movie, is it? And I had to go and look.
No.
So, that's, again, if you subscribe to the, there are only 7 stories to tell, then of course you're going to see remakes. And this is a fun picture. I remember enjoying the original and the sequel.
Morning, dickhead.
Hello, moron.
What are you,
Never mind. Just forget it.
Who's the guy yakking at your door?
Just mind your own business, will you?
Mind your own business, will you? Mind your own business. Why don't you tie your shoelace? You'll fall on your stupid head.
It'll be interesting to see who they cast against him, because they're going to have to hold their own against Eddie Murphy.
Right. You can't just cast anybody. It's going to have to be a huge name. I know that one person has mentioned Samuel L. Jackson. I think that's pretty inspired.
Oh, I'd pay to see that. So yeah, you have my attention.
So, I mean, Eddie Murphy's career from a movie-making standpoint has been kind of on ice for a while now, so...
Well, yeah. He's just made such safe choices.
Well, I mean, I wish I could make safe choices and make as much money as he was doing. I guess this is a safe podcast episode. but we're making the same zero amount of dollars that we make for everything. So.
Well, we're trying. We'll talk about that after you hear the video game sound here in a little bit.
Anyway, Murphy obviously just was so great in the 80s with, and right now, like pretty much every one of his movies is on one of the streaming services. Last night I was watching 48 Hours for the first time in forever. Obviously you got your people who will argue that Beverly Hills Cop was his best work. I know personally, I think his best work in the 80s was Coming to America, but whatever.
I'm a fan of Trading Places.
He is also currently cast to star in a sequel to Twins called Triplets.
Yeah. Now, where do you stand on the movie Twins, Steve?
A guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I will watch that anytime it's on. It is so dippy, so stupid, but it is so funny.
My name is Julius, and I'm your twin brother.
Oh, obviously. The moment I sat down, I thought I was looking into a mirror.
We are not identical twins.
Oh, no?
The fact that they're going back to the well, 30 years later to add on to the joke, I'm like, okay, that's audacious. That's ballsy. Let's see what you got.
The trouble is, I could see it being a really funny 15 minutes on Funny or Die, but I don't see how you string it out to 90.
Well, I guess it'll just depend on how the consulting business has been for Twins. I don't know.
Anyway, if it makes it all sound like we're a bunch of grumpy old men, well, then so be it. By the way, this episode of Stuck in the 80s is sponsored by Hims Skincare. I love the prepared remarks ads that we do these days.
Yeah.
I will read this now, and you can decide which of it was prepared and which one of the lines are improvised.
What if it is Spearsy?
Have you ever looked at a photo of yourself from 5 years ago and thought, damn, I look young? Whatever happened to that guy? Actually, no. I look at photos of myself 15 years ago and I say, why did this guy move to Orlando? Why did he sell his soul? Anyway, I digress. There is something for you that you can do in the fight against aging, and it's staring you in the face. forhims.com. It's a one-stop shop for skincare, hair loss, sexual wellness, and it's for men like us, like Brad and I. It's actually, we should probably be paid just to be the face of forhims.com. Technically, it's not staring you in the face. That would be just plain weird. But later on today, when you're thinking of better ways you could have spent a half hour today instead of listening to Spearsy, you can call up a web browser and check out forhims.com for yourself. And when you're there, check out the Hims Anti-Aging Kit, which surprisingly does not include a bottle of liquor. Rather, it's a custom prescription cream tailored for your skin that can help your skin look great by reducing the appearance of wrinkles and fine lines. The secret is tretinoin. Tretinoin. There we go.
Tretinoin. Obviously, tretinoin.
Tretinoin. Also one of those characters on Star Trek that gets killed off really early. And it's backed up by...
Never take a red shirt.
Yeah. Tretinoin is the red shirt of Star Trek. It's backed up by real science, my friends. Real science, not weird science. And it takes seconds to apply. You don't even have to visit some fancy dermatologist or pay high prices to get it. It's your skin. Do you want to be a face in the crowd or the face in the crowd? Sidebar here. Why do I have to be in a crowd? Can't I just be at home with my roommate, Kat Benatar? Anyway, order now and save $20. And that's a righteous savings. I mean, let's face it. Someone offers me $20 off anything, I'm going to try it. $20 off your first month.
$20 off prostate exams?
Yeah. Well, maybe not. They'll use 50% less fist. That would be nice.
Okay.
Anyway, order now and save $20 off your first month of Hims Anti-Aging Kit. Go to forhims.com/80scare. That's forhims.com/80scare. forhims.com/80scare. I'll say it one more time, but I'll accidentally conjure up the ghost of Michael Keaton. forhims.com/80scare. Support them because they support Stuck in the 80s. Let's continue the countdown. This week, Steve Perry will release his long-awaited solo album, his first new music in about 20 years. The album is called Traces, and it's set for an October 5th debut. Last week, Perry released his third single off the album, and it's called, quite appropriately, We're Still Here.
We're still here, the shadows falling, the night is calling again. We're still here, the love is running, the night is calling again. Sister to sister, hold on together.
Have you heard the new song? What do you think of it?
I have heard it, and I like it better than the second one. I wasn't that excited by the second one. This one I like better. I like how he has written this to where he is now, and he sounds great. The voice sounds good. The band he's playing with sound good. I'm not sure how much excited I am to rush out and buy the album, to be 100% honest, but I do. I'm really happy to hear that he's doing music, and I'm glad this is out there.
Yeah, I pre-ordered the album. I should have it. I guess I get it soon. I can't remember if I bought it on vinyl or CD or what I bought it as.
Why did you buy vinyl? Why would you do that?
I don't even have a record player.
What kind of Luddite are you? We're talking on little portable computers we carry around in our pockets, and you're telling me that the record technology that our grandparents came up with is the best way to listen to music.
Yeah. I also use iodine on cuts still, just so you know. Anyway, I did buy the album. I bought a poster too, so those should be getting here soon.
Nice.
Here's how I look at his stuff. It is dripping with nostalgia. His nostalgia for singing, for being in front of a microphone. He's got some messages that he's delivering not so subtly with each song.
Yeah.
But I dig that. I mean, he's working things out for himself through his music right now, and we're all kind of coming along for the ride.
Yeah.
So
I get that. I do get that.
And so it's interesting. You know, here's a guy that, for the most part, everybody respects him. Maybe not everyone's an Uber Journey fan, but you can't deny the presence that they had in our decade.
Yeah. No. Exactly. And you can put me in that camp.
Right.
I did see something. An interview, I thought, I better do a little homework for this podcast. That he basically everything he writes comes back to high school.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, there you go.
It sounds like he just went to like his 50-year reunion and Went back to his hotel room with a 2-beer buzz and wrote down the lyrics to 9 songs. And
pulled the pad of paper over from next to the phone. I don't know why they have that.
But that's cool. I mean, I mean, again,
so he's channeling the stuff that we're ready to pick that up.
Right.
Like that's our whole thing right here.
Exactly. And we're going to come back to it later in the show because we've got a couple of letters from people who talk about wrestling with the idea of their own reunions. And so that'll be kind of interesting. But Tracy's will be out October 5th. I'd be curious to hear the songs that haven't been released. Like, is he giving us the best stuff now? Is the best stuff still to come? Will he tour? How many shows will he do? My bet is he does like 10 shows total.
Yeah, I could see a real limited tour.
Yeah. And then
but if that goes well, then he'll expand it, right? Because you can tell he's got his toe in the water here, right? He's like, I shot a video. I wrote these songs. He's kind of easing into it to see how it feels.
He hasn't toured in 20 years. He's 69 years old. I don't see him physically being able to do much more than.
I don't see him doing a big summer bus tour like he talked about in the interview that you guys did. But I could see him doing a longer tour that just would have more time in between. It kind of depends on what he wants to do, right? If he wanted to do that, he'd sell the tickets in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I want him to do what's best for him.
It just depends on what he wants to do. Yeah, and
do what's best for you, Steve. That's what's the most important.
Take care of yourself. Be good to yourself.
Stuck in the 80s is happy to announce a new sponsor, and it's a name you know, Audible. The best source for audiobooks so you can spend your time more wisely. We're thrilled to announce that there's a new program called Audible Originals, which are exclusive audio titles created by celebrated storytellers from the world as diverse as theater, journalism, literature, and more. Every month, Audible members get 1 credit good for any audiobook they choose, plus 2 Audible Originals from a changing selection that they can't get anywhere else. They also get access to audio fitness, health workouts, created exclusively for Audible. Why do we partner with Audible? 2 reasons, actually. I'm in the car 3 hours a day driving to and from work, and I'm tired of listening to music and Mark Maron podcasts every single day. And because Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet, that's another great reason. So starting next week, I'm going to start my drive to work listening to Phil Collins' book, Not Dead Yet. Audible offers you 30 days to try Audible free, which includes your choice of any audiobook plus 2 originals. It's a perfect way to discover what millions have already found out. Listening lets you get more books into your life. Get your first audiobook free and choose 2 titles from a curated list of Audible originals when you try Audible for 30 days. Visit audible.com/radical or text Stuck in the 80s to 500-500. That's audible.com/radical or text Stuck in the 80s to 500-500. Audible will make your life better, and it'll make it easier for us to bring you a new podcast every week. Life is just better with books. You know what else life is better with? The Seggies.
What's happening, hot stuff?
By the sound of the gong, it must be time for Mystery Movie Moment. We'll play a snippet of a movie from the 80s. If you get it right, you're into the drawing for the rest of my cold medicine, assuming I ever get through this. Pay attention. Here's the clip from our last show.
A good review would bring in tons of people off season.
I wouldn't let that moron in the door.
Why not?
Yes, that's Mystic Pizza. That actually tastes good right now. It's on. I was on just the other night on it was on either Amazon Prime or Netflix, which is pretty much where I spend all my time these days. So, anyway, Brad, list some of the winners. There's actually not too many, so this shouldn't take you too long.
Winners this week include Martha, the Jewel of the Night, the precious bead of the heavens. I'm not sure what that means. Martha, please help me out with that one. I'm sorry. I probably butchered the nickname and the last name, but Martha's a winner. She's got it. Also, Canuck in Colorado, Brooke in North Dakota, Bass Note, and Ryan the Pirate King in Nashville, Tennessee.
Pay attention. Here's this week's mystery clip.
You gotta stay still, okay? You gotta stay still, okay, kid? You gotta stay still here.
If you know it, email us at podcast@sits.com and tune in next week to find out if you're a winner. The mystical refrain that is Name That 80s Tune. You know the drill by now. We'll play a snippet of a song from the 80s. If you get it right, you're entered into the drawing for the bottle opener still, right?
Bottle opener.
Okay.
Yep, checks out.
We are planning some interesting swag for the 80s cruise. And I don't want to give it away because I don't want someone to steal our idea.
We're not, and it's not for Hims care packages.
No, it's not an anti-aging cream.
Take care of that yourself, Chuckles.
It is something that will be very handy on the trip. It's not anything too weird, but it's clever is what it is.
You know how we like clever. Sometimes we overvalue cleverness around here. But that's okay.
Sometimes we aim for clever and don't quite achieve it, like we are today. Anyway,
it's not all A material, as I tell the kids.
Anyway, pay attention. Here's this week's mystery clip. That's Huey Lewis and the News with Perfect World. Ah, Huey, I hope your hearing comes back soon.
Yeah, I do too. And I have to say, I thought I might trick some people with this pick. I picked this one. And not so much. No, you guys are on it.
Go ahead and read some of the winners while I sit here and drink hot tea with lemon.
Yeah, squirt some of that nasal spray up your nose.
Wrap a hot towel around my head.
Right now, winners include Heather from Tennessee, Jeff with 2 F's to give from Asheville, who says he has facial hair but is not a dirty hipster as implied by Jeremy from Stashville. Thank you for setting the record straight, Mr. Jeff. Buckeye Girl, Brian Pond, who is pondering whether to go to his 30th high school reunion and wants to know what Spearsy would do. Well, you may not want to set Spearsy as your spirit animal on that one, Brian, but we'll talk about that in a minute, too. Andrea Crava, Stu in Fayetteville, Bernie the Dutch Oven Lindemann from Sydney, Australia, New Wave Todd, Stephen Ventura, Alan Titus, Billy in Paducah, Tom Korn in Austria, Stuart O'Neill, Jeremy in St. Pete, Chris Living on the Air in Cincinnati, Adams, Peter Ryan in Montreal, Nate Chops Johnson, Tim in Toadsuck, and Joseph Perdue.
Okay, Brad, spin the wheel and let's find out who wins the bottle opener.
Okay, here we go. You ready?
Go ahead. Anyway, it looks like the Wheel of Fortune is going to land on Martha, the Jewel of the Night, the Precious Beat of the Heavens, Chalupa.
Chilapala. I think it's Chilapala.
Chilapala. Martha Chilapala.
Help us out, Martha. Send us a postal address.
Right.
And a pronunciation guide, and we will send you some fantastic swag.
In the meantime, pay attention. Here's this week's mystery clip. If you know it, email us at podcast@sit80s.com. So for this week's listener mailbag, we have gotten lately a lot of emails about 30-year reunions. And
I guess it's that time of year.
Yeah. As our friend above, Brian Pond, was pondering, other people have been pondering too. So we had a couple letters, and so we'll read those and we'll react to each, and we'll have some fun. So Brad, do me a favor, save my voice, and
here we go.
Let's handle this one from Anastasia Hackett.
Okay, Anastasia writes, "Hey guys, I love listening to Stuck in the 80s. The gang has been there for me during several dark times. When I was living in Idaho and was between jobs, I would use the podcast as an excuse to get out of the house because I would only listen while walking or bike riding. It was my weird way of forcing myself to get exercise by rewarding myself with podcasts. Steve, look, we're a reward."
That's never happened before, but okay.
I know, it's awesome. Eventually, I got my dream job, which caused a move to Ohio. My first weekend there, I went to a big 4th of July festival downtown. It was a bit surreal being in the middle of thousands of people and not knowing a single person, so I popped in my headphones and listened to Stuck in the 80s. Unfortunately, it was the breakup episode. Oops. Maybe not the best thing to get me in a party mood. Anyway, then came the episodes where Steve was talking about whether or not to go to his 30th reunion. My own 30-year reunion was scheduled for 2016, and I started thinking about whether or not I would attend. Suddenly, I realized that I really had no ties to Ohio, so I made the decision to move back to Colorado Springs. I arrived 2 weeks before the reunion. I listened to many back episodes during the long drive. I went to the reunion, and it was awful. Turns out people who are jerks as teenagers are still assholes in their 40s. It took a while, but I have a fabulous job with coworkers who even agree to play 80s music once in a while in the office. Anyway, thanks to you all for being there for me over the years. It warmed the cockles of my cold, bleak heart to hear Brad say, and last but certainly not least, Anastasia in Colorado. After all this time, I feel like part of the gang. Still stuck in the 80s. Anastasia in Colorado.
A dream job in Ohio. That's an oxymoron, isn't it?
Well, I think I don't know.
She did the right thing. She got the hell out of there. No one should live in Ohio.
Devo's from Ohio, so it can't all be bad.
People are from Ohio. They're not in Ohio.
Yeah. It's funny. I was taken by my mother to have coffee with her, a little coffee clatch of women that she spends time with. And one of the other women also had a child along, and she also lives in the Los Angeles area. I was like,
that's funny.
So did you grow up here? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, let's hear to the escapees.
By the way, I finally figured out the town where my cousins lived in Oklahoma, where I bought the infamous pocketed jeans and the hoodie, the cat, the radio station KATT, Piedmont, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's actually not too far from where my mom lives.
Okay.
You want me to go up and take a picture at an address or something?
You want to go pour out a 40 for me or something like that?
I'll do it. You want me to go to Piedmont High School and break some windows?
They have any left? Yeah, sure. Why not?
Oh.
I hear Oklahoma is like teetering on the verge of like becoming a third world country, but I could be wrong. So,
well, here's what's happening Monday, the day I fly home. They are actually finally allowing the sale of beer and wine in grocery stores.
Oh my God! They finally entered the 17th
removing the restrictions
century.
on 3-2 beer. It used to, if you could buy beer any place, it was always 3-2.
Holy!
Which is like, why am I bothering? So they're finally changing those rules.
Wow.
Yeah, one of my mom's friends was like, I'm going to be in line at the grocery store at 7 a.m. I want to buy the first bottle of wine from my grocery store.
Jeez.
I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I want no part of that state. With all apologies to those who live there and love it. It's, I live in Florida, which has got to be the most mocked state in the union for some reason. But we're the nation's penis. But I'd like to think that I live somewhere in the middle of the penis. So not on the ball sack or not on the tip. So I don't know if that makes it better or worse. But it's
okay.
People love where you live, my friends.
That's right. Are we holding our comments on 30 reunions until we read the next letter, or do we want to
Yeah.
Okay.
Read the next. So the next letter comes from Tim Williams, who's been sending us. This is like 2 emails in one, or 3 emails in 2.
We got like a sequel. So Tim writes, "Hi guys. I'm writing to you on the week of my 30th high school reunion, and it has just now sunk in that it's so close. The reunion committee this year decided to have the gathering at one of our alums' house in the suburbs of Chicago. It never dawned on me the significance of the area the reunion is being held until this week. It's not in Des Plaines, where our high school was. Isn't that from Fantasy Island? Anyway, it is taking place in the middle of the 80s movie location nation, John Hughes territory. It's in the town of Northfield, Illinois, which is the center of many filming locations for Hughes' work, not to mention the same town John Hughes resided in before his death. I will also be staying at a hotel in the next town over called Northbrook, which is actually the legendary Schermerville, Illinois. Where they shot 16 Candles, Weird Science, and Ferris Bueller, just to name a few. As a kid from the 80s, and someone who gets the feel-goods with every John Hughes movie, I couldn't think of a better area to have this reunion. I plan to Wang Chung hard that night and take it all in and transport back to the best decade ever, the 80s. Yours, hopelessly, stuck in the 80s, Timmy Williams from Camp Crystal Lake, Illinois. No, wait. This week only, Timmy Williams from Schermerville, Illinois."
So Tim sent that, and I followed up with an email, and I said, "Hey Tim, we got to know how it went. So when it's all over, send us another email. Let us know."
I sent him. I did the same thing. I'm like, I need to hear about all the wanging and all of the chunging.
Wang chung. So here is his follow up email.
Tim writes, well, the reunion in Shermerville was a success for the most part. It was an awesome time at a huge mansion complete with a swimming pool that had fountains, an 80s cover band called The Breakfast Club, and an open bar. The open bar would haunt me at the end of the evening, where I was told that on my way to the driveway to catch our Uber, I fell twice, cutting my head pretty good. I woke up in my hotel bed not knowing how I got there. Got up to use the bathroom and saw my face was bloody and scraped up. Felt like I was in the movie The Hangover, wondering what the hell happened. Other than that, it was the best reunion so far, and everyone from our class was just so kind, loving, and awesome. Well, until the next one in 10 years, Timmy Williams back in Camp Crystal Lake, Illinois with a headache, but still stuck in the 80s.
Yeah, that sounds like my 20-year reunion a little bit. So people know I didn't go to my 30-year reunion. If you're not like a regular listener and you don't know that, I went to my 10-year reunion, and it was surreal and awkward, but sort of necessary,
as 10-year reunions kind of are.
And then the 21 was like a celebration of life, and it was so.
And this podcast is the love child of that reunion.
Yeah. It's the illegitimate love child of my 20th reunion. And then the 30th came around, and it was one of those weird things where I don't live in the area anymore. Granted, I only live like 2 hours away. It's not like I'm on the other side of the planet.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head at you because I flew to Oklahoma to go to my 30th reunion.
Well, but like nobody I knew was going to be there.
Well, that's the pivot right there. That's the killer.
It was in the middle of a monsoon season in Florida where it had rained in Tampa Bay for like, I think 60 straight days.
Oof.
And like there was flooding and sinkholes and fire and brimstone. It was just clearly.
Were dogs and cats living together?
Yes. They were not only living together, they were doing unspeakable things together. Ugh. And so I didn't want to go. And plus, I think when they combined it, like, oh, the class of '84 is going to be there too. And I'm like, why?
Hard pass.
Those guys are jerks. So it was a hard pass. I didn't go, and I have not regretted it for a second. And you would think of all the ones I would go to that one. But so, go. Don't. Everyone has to kind of figure that one out. I don't know. I just. Did you like the people in high school? If you didn't, then you're not missing out on
that
anything.
Dynamic isn't going to change. You're absolutely right. And I will say, like, I think you touched on it. If you're going because even one person that you haven't seen that you're friends with or were friends with that is going to be there and you're excited to see them, that's enough. But if you're going in cold, that's going to be a tough sell.
Right. If you're thinking this is going to end up being some sort of John Cusack movie,
unless you are a hitman, in which case you should just go.
Right. I guess. Yeah. I don't know. We get asked this a lot. Like, should I go to my reunion? And
if you ask Steve, Steve's like, no, I didn't go to mine. And if you ask me, I say, yes, I've been to all mine. I've had an awesome time at them. But it just there are the underpinning reasons is. Well, that's kind of a personal decision. You should probably think about it. But I think if you're going to see, if you know that people that you knew and were in your posse or whatever you want to call it, your clique in high school are going to be there and you're excited to see them, then you can go and you'll, what I have found, and I don't know, maybe, write and tell me if I'm completely off my rocker here, but what I have found is that you fall into those friendships so quickly again, you almost pick up right where you were. And that's kind of fun. I mean, unless you had super dysfunctional friendships, I don't know. It wasn't. I know that's not a great thing for everybody, but.
So what's the takeaway here? 30-year reunions, great idea, or something to skip over in favor of a night spent watching Netflix. I could spout off a whole lot of cliches right now about how life is what you make of it, and how a high school reunion can be a great time if you just allow it to be. But that's just crazy mumbo jumbo. I myself have a weird history with reunions. What does that say about how I make life out to be? You could fill a room full of therapists and they won't figure that one out anytime soon. So my advice, go with your heart. Always go with your heart. That's the one part of you that will ultimately forgive any mistake you make, but equally reward every smart move you undertake. So So yeah, Ferris, life does move pretty fast. 30 years ago, we were wearing parachute pants and feathering our hair. Today, we're listening to ads for hair loss while our kids try to talk us out of wearing cargo shorts and T-shirts with Goonies quotes on them. My heart has long forgiven me for blowing off my 30-year reunion. What will your heart tell you to do? I mean, after it tells you to donate the cargo shorts to Goodwill, write and tell us. Share your stories and keep listening. Keep listening to us, keep listening to your kids, but most of all, keep listening to your heart. In the meantime, we'll be right here waiting for you, hopelessly stuck in the 80s.
We're still here, the shadows falling, the night is calling out, yeah. We're still here, when love is running, the night is calling out, yeah.
Stuck in the 80s is a member of the CLNS Media Network. Special thanks to Check Battery Daily for our theme music. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or the CLNS Media mobile app.